Aileen aka Lee was born on February 29, 1956, into a poor family. Her birthplace was Rochester, Michigan. Her birth name was Aileen Carol Pittman. Aileen was a damaged and abused child. When she was 6 months old, her teenage mother, Aileen Wuornos, abandoned her. She was raised by an alcoholic, cruel and abusive grandfather, who used to beat her severely. Her father was a convicted rapist and child molester, and he committed suicide in prison in 1969 when Aileen was 13 years old. He was diagnosed with schizophrenia. During her childhood, she was mentally, physically and emotionally abused by her grandfather. At the age of 14 she was raped by her grandfather's friend, and consequently, she was pregnant. She gave birth to her child in a house for unwed mothers. Later, her child was up for adoption. After a few days later, her grandfather threw her out of the house. Later, she started working as a prostitute at age 15. When she was working as a sex worker in Florida, she was often tortured and humiliated by men. Some men even beat her brutally. She was helpless as she could not leave prostitution because it was her only way of earning money to survive. Her struggles in society made her misandrist. She was married to Louis Gratzfell in 1976. Louis was a wealthy yachtsman. When Aileen was arrested in an altercation, Louis declined the marriage. She met her lesbian lover, Tyrion Moore, at a lesbian bar at Daytona, Florida. They were so in love, but their relationship started to fall out when Aileen was killing men. Aileen's strange behavior made Tyrion anxious. She even testified against Aileen in the courthouse at the trial. After Aileen's conviction, she was adopted by Arlene Prale and her husband in 1991. The movie Monster is based on Aileen Wuornos' life. We highly recommend you this movie. Aileen killed her victims in Florida. She was also working as a prostitute on the highways of Florida. That's why Florida State Police Department called her the Florida Highway Killer. Between 1989 and 1990, Aileen killed 6 men by using a gun on the highways of Florida. Aileen was tracked down by the state police through her fingerprints left in the missing persons' vehicles. Aileen Wuornos was finally arrested in a bar in Port Orange, Florida. Tyrion Moore made a deal with detectives for immunity in exchange for elicited phone confession from Aileen. She was successful in this as Aileen made the confession. During her trial, Aileen asserted that she killed those men in a private defense. They tried to rape and assault her, then she killed them. A jury in Florida found Aileen Wuornos guilty for first-degree murder, and she was given a death sentence on January 27, 1992. She had spent a decade on death row. Finally, she was executed by lethal injection at 9:47 in the morning on October 9, 2002. December 1989, Wuornos started killing men in and around Central Florida. She was living in the Daytona Beach area, but she hitchhiked along highways all over Central and North Florida as a prostitute. She claimed that the men who picked her up, beat or raped her, and then she shot them in self-defense. She also robbed them. December 13, 1989, the first victim, Richard Mallory, was found dead in November of 1989. This is the only case that Wuornos actually stood trial for. The trial happened in DeLand. June 1, 1990, the body of David Spears was found. June 6, 1990, the body of Charles Carskadden was found. July 4, 1990, police found a car connected to a man named Peter Seams. His body was never found, but Wuornos confessed to the crime. August 4, 1990, Troy Burris, the 5th victim, was found dead. September 12, 1990, Dick Humphreys, the 6th victim, was found dead. November 19, 1990, the body of Walter Gino Antonio was found. January 9, 1991, Wuornos was arrested. January 16, 1991, Wuornos confesses to one of the murders, saying it was self-defense. November 21, 1991, Arlene Prale, a 44-year-old born-again Christian, and her husband legally adopted Wuornos. January 14, 1992, Wuornos went on trial for the Mallory murder. January 27, 1992, Wuornos was convicted of the murder of Richard Mallory. January 31, 1992, Wuornos received the death sentence. Florida executes female serial killer, Wuornos declines final meal. Richard Mallory, age 51, November 30, 1989, electronics store owner in Clearwater, Florida. Wuornos' first victim was a convicted rapist whom she claimed to have killed in self-defense. 2 days later, of Volusia County, Florida, Deputy Sheriff found Mallory's abandoned vehicle. On December 13, Mallory's body was found several miles away in a wooded area. He had been shot several times. 2 bullets to the left lung were found to have been the cause of death. It was on this murder that Wuornos was initially condemned. David Spears, age 43, construction worker in Winter Garden, Florida. On June 1, 1990, his nude body was found along Highway 19 in Citrus County, Florida. He had been shot 6 times. Charles Carskad, age 40, May 31, 1990, part-time rodeo worker. On June 6, 1990, his body was found in Pasco County, Florida. He had been shot 9 times with a small caliber weapon. Peter Seams, age 65, retired merchant seaman who devoted much of his time to a Christian outreach ministry. In June 1990, Seams left Jupiter, Florida, for Arkansas. On July 4, 1990, his car was found in Orange Springs, Florida. Moore and Wuornos were seen abandoning the car, and Wuornos' palm print was found on the interior door handle. His body was never found. Troy Burris, age 50, sausage salesman from Ocala, Florida. On July 31, 1990, he was reported missing. On August 4, 1990, his body was found in a wooded area along State Road 19 in Marion County, Florida. He had been shot twice. Charles Dick Humphreys, age 56, September 11, 1990, retired U.S. Air Force Major, former state child abuse investigator, and former chief of police. On September 12, 1990, his body was found in Marion County, Florida. He was fully clothed and had been shot 6 times in the head and torso. His car was found in Suwannee County, Florida. Walter Gino Antonio, age 62, trucker, security guard, and police reservist. On November 19, 1990, Antonio's nearly nude body was found near a remote logging road in Dixie County, Florida. He had been shot 4 times. 5 days later, his car was found in Brevard County, Florida. Wuornos was incarcerated at the Florida Department of Corrections Broward Correctional Institution, BCI, death row for women, then transferred to the Florida State Prison for execution. 40. Her appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court was denied in 1996. In a 2001 petition to the Florida Supreme Court, she stated her intention to dismiss her legal counsel and terminate all pending appeals. "I killed those men," she wrote, "robbed them as cold as ice. And I'd do it again, too. There's no chance in keeping me alive or anything, because I'd kill again. I have hate crawling through my system. I am so sick of hearing this she's crazy stuff. I've been evaluated so many times. I'm competent, sane, and I'm trying to tell the truth. I'm one who seriously hates human life and would kill again." While her attorneys argued that she was not mentally competent to make such a request, Wuornos insisted that she knew what she was doing, and a court-appointed panel of psychiatrists agreed. In 2002, Wuornos began accusing prison matrons of tainting her food with dirt, saliva, and urine. She said she had overheard conversations among prison personnel trying to get me so pushed over the brink by them I'd wind up committing suicide before the execution and wishing to rape me before execution. She also complained of strip searches, tight handcuffing, door kicking, frequent window checks, low water pressure, mildew on her mattress, and catcalling, in distaste and a pure hatred towards me. Wuornos threatened to boycott showers and food trays when certain officers were on duty. "In the meantime, my stomach's growling away and I'm taking showers through the sink of my cell." Her attorney stated that Miss Wuornos really just wants to have proper treatment, humane treatment until the day she's executed. He added, "She believes what she's written." In the weeks before her execution, Wuornos gave a series of interviews to Broomfield and talked about being taken away to meet God and Jesus and the angels and whatever is beyond the beyond. In her final interview, she once again charged that her mind was tortured at BCI, and her head crushed by sonic pressure. Food poisonings and other abuses worsened, she said, each time she complained, with the goal of making her appear insane, or to drive her insane. She also turned on her interviewer: "You sabotaged my ass. Society, and the cops, and the system. A raped woman got executed, and was used for books and movies and shit." Her final on-camera words were, "Thanks a lot, society, for railroading my ass." Dawn Bodkins, a childhood friend of Wuornos, later told Broomfield that her verbal abuse was directed at society and the media in general, not at him specifically. Wuornos's execution took place on October 9, 2002. She declined her last meal, which could have been anything under $20, and opted for a cup of coffee instead. Her last words were, "Yes, I would just like to say I'm sailing with a rock, and I'll be back, like Independence Day, with Jesus. June 6, like the movie Big Mothership and all, I'll be back, I'll be back." She died at 9:47 a.m. EDT. She was the 10th woman in the United States and the second in Florida to be executed since the 1976 United States Supreme Court decision restoring capital punishment. Wuornos's body was cremated and her ashes were spread beneath the tree in her native Michigan by her childhood friend, Dawn Bodkins. Wuornos requested that Natalie Merchant's song Carnival be played at her funeral. Merchant commented on this when asked why she permitted Carnival to be played during the credits of the documentary Aileen, Life and Death of a Serial Killer.